Okay, so when you think about the Middle East, what comes to mind? For a lot of people, it's ancient history, modern conflict. But to really get what's happening right now, you've got to look at two things: what the region has, and maybe more importantly, what it doesn't have. And it really all comes down to oil and nuclear weapons. So check this out. On one side, you've got the world's gas station, right? The Middle East is sitting on this mind boggling amount of oil. But then you look at the other side of the equation, the ultimate power play, nuclear weapons, and crickets. They're just not on the list, not one. And that imbalance, that's the key. It's the starting point for pretty much everything we're about to dive into. So you have to ask, right? Why? How can the region that literally fuels the entire planet have almost zero say in the nuclear game? And this is the big one. What is Iran trying to do to completely flip that script? That's exactly what we're going to unpack right now. Okay, so this all kicks off with Iran's nuclear ambitions. But here's the thing, it's not as simple as just wanting a bomb to be aggressive. For Iran, getting a nuclear weapon is, well, it's like the ultimate insurance policy. It's their way of saying, you can't push this around anymore. There's actually a term for this. It's called nuclear deterrence. And the logic is pretty straightforward. If you have nukes, nobody in their right mind is going to risk a direct attack on you. It's a weird, kind of terrifying kind of peace, but it's a kind of peace. I mean, just look at India and Pakistan. These guys are major rivals. They fought wars before, but since they both got the bomb, no major conflicts. That's the kind of power Iran is chasing. So, how do you actually get one of these insurance policies? Well, it all comes down to this one super complex process: uranium enrichment. You basically start with natural uranium, the regular stuff, and run it through these advanced machines to pull out a really rare isotope called U-235. Trust me, it's way harder than it sounds. It's incredibly difficult, crazy expensive, and this one little process, it's the reason for this whole international showdown. And this is where things get a little scary. Iran is really, really close. To make a weapon, you need to get to 90% enrichment. Right now, they're already at 60%. I mean, they're practically knocking on the door. They haven't quite crossed that finish line yet, but they're close enough to have a lot of people around the world losing sleep. So the big question is, if they're so close, what's stopping them from taking that final step? Well, the road to the bomb is, let's just say, full of potholes. Their top nuclear scientists have a bad habit of turning up dead under mysterious circumstances. The rest of the world has slammed them with crippling economic sanctions, basically cutting off their money supply. And on top of all that, building and maintaining nukes costs an insane amount of money. It's a perfect storm of problems for them. Okay, so with all that stacked against them, you have to wonder, why are they pushing so hard? Because this isn't just about self-defense. It's about something much bigger: power. And to really get a handle on Iran's nuclear obsession, you have to understand their number one rival and this huge struggle for leadership of the entire Muslim world. And here we are at the absolute heart of it all: Iran versus Saudi Arabia. Just look at the numbers for a second. Iran is this ancient civilization. We're talking thousands of years, with nearly 88 million people. Saudi Arabia, it's a much younger country, founded in 1932, with less than half the population. And yet, because they're the guardians of Islam's holy sites, they're seen as the leader of the Muslim world. You can imagine, for a country like Iran, that just does not sit right. So what's Iran's move? They can't fight them head-on, so they fight with a story, a really powerful one. Their message is basically this: the Saudi royals, they're just puppets for the West. We are the real, independent defenders of Islam. And let me tell you, in a part of the world that has a very long, very painful history with foreign powers, that message hits hard. Now, a direct, all-out war between Iran and Saudi Arabia, that would be an absolute catastrophe for the whole world. So that's not how they play. Instead, they fight a different kind of war, a shadow war. They use other countries, other groups as their pawns on a giant chessboard. And this is what that chessboard looks like. Take Bahrain. Iran backs the anti-government groups, Saudi Arabia backs the monarchy. Go to Lebanon. Iran's got Hezbollah, Saudi Arabia supports the official government. In Yemen, Iran is behind the Houthi rebels while the Saudis back the government. It's the same pattern over and over. Pretty much any major conflict in the region, you can bet you'll find these two powers behind the scenes, pulling the strings, battling for control. But there was a big problem for Iran. They're a Shia nation, and most of the Muslim world is Sunni. It was holding them back. See, if you want to be the leader of the whole club, you can't just appeal to your little corner of it. So they made a move that nobody saw coming. They decided to reach across that deep religious divide. And this is where you might need to pause and scratch your head a little. Why on earth would Shia Iran back Hamas? They're a Sunni group, one that historically hasn't been very kind to Shias. The answer? It's got absolutely nothing to do with religion. It is 100% pure, cold, calculated strategy. See, most other Palestinian groups are all about Arab nationalism, this idea of a single, unified Arab nation. But Hamas, they have a laser-like singular focus on one thing and one thing only: opposition to Israel. And that makes them the perfect partner for Iran. By backing Hamas, Iran gets to paint itself as the #1 defender of the Palestinian cause. It's an incredibly powerful way to win friends and influence people all over the Muslim world, and, of course, to one-up Saudi Arabia. So let's pull all these threads together. The nuclear program, this intense rivalry with the Saudis, all these proxy wars, they're not separate issues. They're all pieces of the exact same puzzle. It's one giant, high-stakes gamble for control of the region. You see, Iran is playing the long game here. They're not interested in short-term wins. For them, this network of proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, it's all a long-term investment. They're planting seeds right now, seeds they hope will grow into a massive forest of influence down the road. And get this, here's the really wild part. They don't think they need to win everywhere. Their calculation is that if this whole strategy is even, say, 70 or 80% successful, that'll be enough. Enough to finally tip the balance of power in their favor and make them the top dog in the region. And that right there is the absolute core of Iran's gamble. They're consciously choosing to sacrifice their economy today for the prize of geopolitical influence tomorrow. It's a massive, calculated risk, for sure. But the potential payoff? It's nothing less than total supremacy in the Middle East. So as Iran keeps pushing all its chips to the center of the table, the map of the Middle East is literally being redrawn right before our eyes. And it leaves us with one massive question. In this high-stakes geopolitical poker game, who's going to come out on top?